to the Sports Show with Bob Spino. I'm your co-host, Rob. Here we are post 2021 draft. We are scheduled to have Jets assistant defensive coach Ricky Manning Jr. coming to join us. He had a very successful collegiate and NFL career, starting off at UCLA and moving on to a couple teams. I know he played for the Bears for a little while. Did he play with anybody else, Bob?
Oh, he sure did. He played with the Rams. He played with the Raiders for about a day. He played with the Florida Tuskers and the Virginia Destroyers. In it was a pro league, but it wasn't NFL, of course. And he was in what was considered the greatest Super Bowl ever, or at least one of them. They gave the New England Patriots all they can handle, and the game was tied at the end of the game. And Jake Delhomme, who I loved, just went out there and dominated. He was a great quarterback. He was underrated, and he was never drafted.
Good. Yeah. You know what? I completely forgot about him, and he was great.
Right.
I feel like he just got lost in the ether of all the great quarterbacks the last 20 years.
That's right. And
Jake Delhomme, oh my goodness, I kind of feel bad because he was such a good quarterback.
And he got picked up at the beginning of that year, and Rodney Peete was the quarterback, and he bombed in the first game. And before the first game was ever over against Jacksonville, they brought Delhomme in, and they were getting killed, and they came all the way back to win the game by 1 point, like 24-23, and he never looked back. And they had who I consider was a star, and that went under the radar, was Ricky Prohl. He was a Buffalo Bill. He was like all-purpose wide receiver, like a slot guy, and he caught everything you threw to him. I loved him in Buffalo. And then he went to the Rams with Dick Vermeil, and I believe he won a Super Bowl there. And my friend called me. I will never forget it. He goes, "How is Carolina going to win this thing?" I go, "Throw to Ricky Prohl." Because they had a lot of great players. I mean, they had Muhammad, and, they had Smith as wide receivers, and they had Deshaun Foster, who was amazing running back, also from UCLA. But all of a sudden, they started throwing to Ricky, and they couldn't stop him. And he caught the touchdown near the end of the game to tie it at 29 all. What did him in was, after that catch, the kicker for Carolina got off a bad kick. And it went out of bounds, and New England got the ball on the 40, which made it easier for Brady to just move down the field and get that last winning field goal. And they won 32-29. So it was an amazing game. It was really tight, and it was a lot of excitement. And despite that, neither team scored in the first or the third quarter, yet the game was 32-29. So that was a really fun game to watch. And until this year, New England won all their Super Bowls by 7 points or less. This past year, they beat Kansas City bad, but that was the first time
because it wasn't New England,
Brady,
Bob.
Brady.
It was Tampa Bay.
It was
so
Brady.
all New England Super Bowls.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. But
Brady, all of Brady's Super Bowls with the Patriots were what?
7 points or less. All their wins.
Really?
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Yes. This one was a 3-point game, and this year, like I said, Brady went to Tampa Bay and got a home game and destroyed Kansas City. But every other win that he had was 7 points or less. The games were tight, always tight. So, yeah, he was a great player. I'm going to ask him. You're gonna hate this, but they beat Philly in the conference game in Philly to get to the Super Bowl. Carolina did. He intercepted Donovan McNabb 3 times in the game. 3. And he was player
and
of the
week.
week.
Never spoke of it again.
Yes, because you're Syracuse. He actually was defensive player of the week 2 weeks in a row as a safety, cornerback, and that's never been done in a playoff. Yeah, he was a really good player. And when I ran into him that day at the steakhouse, I'm like, oh, I definitely want him on. Definitely. He's a great player. And hopefully he's a little busy right now, so We're waiting on
Yeah,
them,
the
and
Jets are really, a buzz right now. They got a whole new staff, right, Bob?
they do. Two other UCLA ex players besides him, and he played at UCLA. My brother was a trainer with Bob Toledo when we were amazing. With that one year we were number one and really should have won it all. We had to go play a makeup game because of a hurricane in Miami, and they took us out. And the referees, they hosed us at the end of that game. There's no doubt. My brother actually, they were getting men when we were getting first downs. They were going, shoot, you got to move the chains. They got another one. Those guys should be
Home
investigated.
cooking.
Those guys should be investigated. Because they took, at the end of the game, we caught the ball on the 50-yard line. Our wide receiver was down on the ground with a guy on top of him. They said fumble. The play was dead. It was over. It was a complete pass. We would have won that game. We were driving for the game when he scored.
Well, good luck with that investigation, Bob. That was 23 years ago.
Well, we're still working on it, Rob.
Eventually.
Yeah.
You only got 2 years till a quarter century, so hopefully they can get it going by then.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to, tarnish Miami further is okay with me. Oh, I didn't say that. Sorry. Never mind. But I did.
Yes, I think you did. I think you did.
I did.
But
so Ricky Manning's coming on, and I'm sure we'll talk about the Jets draft picks. What impressed you most about the Jets draft picks?
I think they did it right this time. Wilson was great with BYU. I think he was going to be really good. They addressed the offensive line. They got Vera Tucker from SC. They got the wide receiver they need in the running back. Michael Carter's a really good running back. I know Miami was
their best pick.
Miami was going to take him, I think, and I think the Jets moved ahead of them to get him.
I think the running back is their best pick of the draft.
You do?
That's my opinion. Sticking to it. Mm-hmm. You like Zach Wilson. I think he's going to be a bust. So remember this show and the past show because we made some bold statements.
Yeah, you really have. They have two Michael Carters. That's weird. One from Carolina, one from Duke. What are the odds on that? One's a running back, one's a safety.
I mean, the fact that not only they share the same name, although it is Michael Carter II from Duke,
right.
The fact that they're both Michael Carters from Duke and North Carolina, two of the most bitter rivals in the history of sports, that's fascinating. But we have a participant in the live chat, Bob. His name is Tim David, and he's asking, how will the Jets perform with Wilson in his first season?
Very well. Look, they couldn't perform much worse than they were last year. And, it didn't seem like that team was – nobody wanted to play for the coach. It seems like nobody really liked the guy. And Darnold was never the guy. To me, he never was, even from the first day. I mean, he threw an interception on his first play from scrimmage ever. Guy ran it in for 6. He led the nation in interceptions his last year there. But this guy can throw. He's got a good arm. And BYU has been known to come out with pretty good quarterbacks. So forgive my voice. But it was great. And I think they're going to be fine. They addressed every need. And that's something the Jets don't usually do. So I really think they'll be a pretty good team this year, a lot better than they were. I can tell you that.
I disagree with you, Bob. I actually believe the Jets will have a losing season. I think their peak is 7-9. I don't have any. I don't have any optimism about Zach Wilson. He played a very mediocre schedule. Everyone really started talking about him this year in the COVID year. He's an unknown commodity. Ultimately, I will admit that, but I speculate that he's basically Darnold 2.0, and the Jets are going to struggle again. In the other positions, I think they did well, but I think 7-9 is the Jets' peak this year.
Well, I never said they were going to be well over 500 or even 500, but you know what? They're not going to win 2 games either, or 3, whatever they won last year.
No, I agree. Yeah, they're not going to just win 2 games. No,
they may be over 500 depending on who they play and how lucky.
I mean, they won a couple at the end. What did they finish with? You remember they win 6 games?
They won too
5
many.
Games? They picked up a couple wins at the end.
Yeah, they did. But you know what? Zach Wilson could be better than Lawrence. It could happen, Rob. I don't know about Lawrence.
Talk about bold statements, Bob.
Yeah, it could happen. The only thing I can say is the Jets, no matter what they do, it seems like it never turns out right, even when they do the right thing, which is kind of scary. But you know what? I don't know if I believe in Lawrence.
You think a guy who had one great year at BYU playing LA Tech and the likes is going to take out the freshman national champion who made the playoffs every year he was there?
Yeah, well,
what did he lose? What did he lose? Like 3 games, something like that?
Yeah, no,
you're picking the BYU guy over him?
Wait a minute. What I'm saying is, I didn't say he was going to be, but I said he could, because I don't know if I totally trust Lawrence. I've watched him. I know he's got this great record even since he was in Pee Wee football, but like he never lost. But I don't know. This is pros. This is different.
I agree. I don't know either. I mean, ultimately, I don't know. My opinion, I don't think he's going to pan out, but he could. I mean, it's possible.
Right.
I don't know if you can judge his performance and with the schedule they played last year and the COVID, situation to really make a call. So I think it's a gamble on the Jets' part. If I were the Jets, I would have taken Mac Jones or Fields from Ohio State above Zach Wilson.
No way. Not Fields. No way. He's not going to make it. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay, we'll see.
Maybe the guy that New England took, Jones, right? But no way. I don't think Fields.
I see. Just as Zach Wilson has gotten this hype, Mac Jones has been just ignored for some reason. And if you watched,
well, I can tell you why.
Alabama games last year. I mean, he was the most efficient quarter. I think he was more efficient than Lawrence.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So there's your answer. You're sitting here going, "Oh, I don't know about what," but if you think Jones was better, then maybe Lawrence isn't that good.
I said he was more efficient this year than Lawrence. I didn't say he was ultimately better. Remember, you just said Zach.
Wait a minute, though.
Could be better, but he's not. No guarantee.
But if you're more efficient, then you are better.
I said he was more efficient this year.
Yeah,
in this sample this year, he was.
Don't sample me. Look. You know what?
Don't sample you.
No.
Trevor Lawrence won a title as a freshman and then made the playoffs the next 2 years.
He also had a better team. You got to remember something about Wilson, okay? And BYU.
Better team. Oh, okay. We're back
to BYU.
I thought we were talking about Mac Jones. I thought we were talking about Mac Jones comparison.
I'll get to him in a minute because we're going to backtrack. Okay.
Okay.
Now, Wilson, you got to remember, just because BYU wasn't a great team, but that doesn't mean you're not a great player. Isn't that right?
I think BYU was a pretty good team. They had a great record.
But they weren't. I just don't think they played. They weren't Clemson.
They weren't Clemson. No, they weren't Clemson.
And the thing about Mac Jones, I think a lot of people sometimes will look and go, "Well, Alabama didn't have a good quarterback all these years," and just kind of brush him off like he's another not that good one. But if you watched him, he was damn good. Real good. So
really good.
Yeah.
Any updates to Ricky Manning Jr., Bob?
Yeah, he said he's swamped and he can't get on today.
Okay. We'll have to reschedule him another time.
Okay. He says he's got rookie camp.
Okay. So we'll get him another time and
yeah. We're really sorry about that because he was coming on.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. I'll have to re-edit the title. And we will just make this a post NFL draft conversation between Bob and I.
Right.
So once again, folks who are just tuning in, Ricky Manning Jr. will not be able to make it today. We will resume the show in our conversation and stay tuned. He'll eventually get on. But as he said, rookie camp is fully underway. And given the new staff with the Jets, his time demands are through the roof. So,
right.
Well, we weren't surprised this happened after a good 20 minutes or so past 3. We heard nothing from him. So,
right.
At least he reached back out, and we'll get him on. So, who do you think besides the quarterbacks in the draft, Bob? Who are the other stars to come besides the quarterbacks we've been discussing?
Oh well, Harris, of course, the running back for Pittsburgh. Now Pittsburgh. Formerly Alabama. He's going to be a superstar, I think. Pittsburgh lucked out that they got him, that he stuck around for as long as he did. Because if I was picking one of those teams, I would have took him long before Pittsburgh got that pick. So he's a great player. He's going to be a great player. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I like Michael Carter. I like some of the wide receivers too. I'm happy with the Dolphins pick. Like I said, like you said, it would have been probably preferable to get the guy ahead of him, but no power to do that. Back on the quarterbacks. Here's a name I want to throw at you, and it kind of makes me want to throw up my throat a little bit here. But the Notre Dame quarterback, Ian Book, I think he's going to have a career in the NFL. He got drafted late by the Saints. I think he's going to play.
He's real well. He may play there because there's no Breeze now, and I mean, I don't know how good Hill is, and Winston's going to sit the bench. So, I mean, he may. I'll tell you what, that Notre Dame team was a really good team, even though they didn't win it. I mean, even though they weren't number one, they were darn good at every position. They were tough to beat, and their linebacker is the best one in the draft. He went to Cleveland. Oh boy,
good? I agree. No, Notre Dame was pretty good.
Oh yeah, they were.
They just hit the revenge factor, fully loaded Clemson team, and they got taken out. Did Notre Dame win their bowl game?
I honestly don't remember. Yeah,
can't remember either. Bowl season seems like ages ago now.
Right.
But I think Ian Book will have a career.
No, yeah, they got a good team. So, I mean, I wouldn't put anything past that quarterback, nothing at all. They will do. Those guys will do well. They will.
Do you see any NFL? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, just looking up to see if they did win their bowl game.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I'm wondering why you look that up. Do you see any team that's going to surprise us in the NFL this year? Or are we going to be looking at the usual suspects?
I think that if Rodgers doesn't play with Green Bay, you're going to be looking at the suspects in the other direction. They're going to stink. They're going to hit the skids.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, who might be the losers who are hitting?
Yeah. And if he goes, and my friend said he's going to go to Denver. I don't know if I believe that, but because he's a Denver fan. But I'll tell you, if he does, first of all, Mahomes is going to beat him like a bass drum. We'll beat Denver because even though he's good, he's older, and we got a better team, and we got a young Mahomes. He's a star. And Rodgers has no heart. I said that the last time. I question him. He cares more about State Farm than he does NFL. So that's nice. Maybe they'll hire him someday. But no, I mean, I think the suspects are more. I mean, Cleveland is going to be real good. I think Cincy will be a little better. But if Rodgers leaves the NFC, then nobody's going to stop Brady. He's going to walk to the Super Bowl because he's with Tampa Bay. This is going to get easier for him. He's going to walk right in unless they get hurt. Hurt always changes things, guys. In case you don't know, that's absolutely true. But
like look at Carson Wentz. You made a great point last time. Now, the seriousness of that injury potentially has derailed a superstar.
Well, and you know what? He actually backs up my my argument from before, because he wasn't. I mean, yes, North Dakota State was a really good team. They did win 4 years in a row, but it was Division II. But when you're a great player, you're a great player, and he was, and he really led them Philly to that championship. He had everything to do with it. So that's what I'm saying about Zach Wilson. I mean, BYU is not a Division II or Division I, but they're not Clemson. But it doesn't mean he's not good. Doesn't mean he's not good, and he won't be good. Doesn't, because Wentz was, Now I don't.
No, I agree. It's possible. I mean, I'm not going to say absolutely he's going to be a bust. I just believe he will.
I know. Well, one of the reasons is you're a Miami fan and you don't like the Jets too. So you're a little, But I like the Bills.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. The Jets haven't been. When's the last time the Jets had a good season? It's been a long time.
But you know what? That doesn't mean they won't have one this year. You know what the thing about the Jets is? Even when they have
Jets
a
are
good
just the biggest unknown. Everything is new about the Jets. New staff, new players, new quarterback. I
right.
mean, who knows?
Well, um, even when the Jets had great years, what they would do, where I think the curse kicked in of the Jets, they would get their fans believing that, oh, it's gonna be a great year next year. And I remember one time a friend, Chance, actually, big Jet fan, and we're down the field playing basketball, and he's all happy about next year. And I go, "You guys are gonna bomb. I know it." And they bombed with the same team. And that's the thing about they'll give you hope. It's like being in hell. They'll give you hope and they'll take it away. And that's kind of like what they've been. But I think that this kid's gonna be pretty good though. I do.
Or Bob, maybe the curse is the ETS curse. The teams that end with ETS, Nets, Mets, Jets. You could say the same thing about the Mets. They kind of give you hope and then bomb.
Well, then
They've
you
done
better
that
check.
before.
You better check the official name of the Knicks too, because there may be an ETS in there we don't know about. Because
there's an underlying invisible ETS with the Knicks.
Yeah. Well, my friend used to say that the Knicks and the Mets are the same team. It's just one wears spikes and one wears sneakers. That's pretty much right.
I mean, they got similar colors.
Yeah, well, they do.
They look similar.
No, they're exactly the same color. Pretty
I
much.
think the Mets are better though than the Knicks.
Well, the Knicks haven't won since 1973, so there you go. At least the Mets won in '86. Should have won more, but
are the Brooklyn Nets? I haven't followed the NBA lately. Are the Nets still rolling, or are they struggling?
Well, it was funny. I was with my friend who's a Net fan, and he's sure that this is the breakout year, and it may be. I mean, they've stacked the team enough, and LeBron's kind of scared. But the thing is, those three guys have only played 8 games together all year.
Those three, only 8.
Only 8. That's
they just
concerning.
Can't stay healthy.
And so we went out for pizza the other day, me and my friends, my 2 friends, and the one who likes the Nets, and he's watching the game and Tez, I go, don't bother to watch the game. The Bucks are going to beat them. No, I don't know. I do. It's in Milwaukee. You're going to lose. Sure as heck, the Bucks were getting crushed, came all the way back and beat them. I mean, I don't know about them, Rob. I have my doubts till I see it. And I'm kind of pulling for them because as a Celtic fan, I don't want the Lakers to jump ahead of me with the most titles.
I have my doubts of the Nets too. Earlier on, I kind of figured they were a front runner for the East, but now I don't know. And I feel like the health issues are legit. They just don't seem to be able to stay healthy very long. And you got to get through all those series to get there. And I feel if you lose one of the 3, you're done.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. Like the thing about them is, now Harden has the hamstring problem. We'll see how that could be bad if it gets really bad, or if it's bad, or if he plays too soon, he'll hurt it worse. So he's got to rest. And then you have Durant, who's finally semi-healthy. He's playing fine. But then you got Kyrie. Who knows when he wants to play, or one night he just wants to go walk in the forest by himself. Because you don't know with that guy. You don't know what he's going to do next. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I get the impression the NBA might be a little more open this year. Maybe it's the Bucks year. I don't know.
I would love to see it. They haven't won since 1970.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Bucks.
Anybody but the Lakers. I'll get 5 guys down our basketball courts and root for them to beat them because I don't want them to win. But I would love to see the Bucks win. They haven't won since 1971. So with Jabbar and Oscar, that'd be kind of nice. That'd be really nice. A couple of years ago, everybody thought they were going to win. They looked like the team to beat.
They did.
And all of a sudden it didn't happen, so at the end they kind of wilted. So,
and I didn't see Miami making the run they would last year.
They were lucky. All they did, and they're not that good. All they did was help the Lakers win it. That made it easy for the Lakers. Boston was better than Miami. They just did the Lakers a favor by beating Boston. Now Boston's, really horrible. Like they're really horrible. So.
You think Stevens is going to last there?
I think Danny Ainge should go. He could last, but if they keep losing, like, look, put it this way: if Auerbach and those guys were alive and it was the old Celtics, he'd have been fired already. They all would have been fired. Danny Ainge would have been fired. Auerbach would have got rid of him when he was the president. He'd have got rid of him. And Ainge is lucky to have the job because just the year before he got Garnett, they wanted him out then. And he's just botched up these picks. Let that be a lesson, everybody out there. Picks aren't that important. They're there only when the can't misses are there, and that's not much. The rest of the time, you use them as trading chips. And, this is how, I don't want to say the word dumb. I think I just did. But this is how forgetful Danny Ainge is. When they got Garnett, what did the Celtics do? They went 20 years without winning. 20 years. And which is the worst of all sins, but especially for them. So he decides to get rid of half the team to Minnesota to get Garnett. Chance came up to me, goes, Bob, he goes, you traded half your team. I go, it doesn't matter. And they give up picks. I go, it doesn't matter. I go, because for 20 years, that team did nothing and those picks did nothing year after year after year. You got to get the stars. Worry about the future when it comes. Don't worry about the future now. You can't control it. Just go do what you got to do. Steinbrenner never had a problem. You needed somebody, he went and got him. He wasn't worried about, well, when Reggie gets older or when Winfield gets older, he was like, no, play now. I'm paying you. Let's win. I'll worry about tomorrow. I'll pick up somebody new tomorrow because I do that.
Yeah.
And like.
There is no tomorrow. It's just now.
They got rid of so many players that year in that trade. And they also traded for Ray Allen, okay? And Pierce was the only one they kept. They kept Rondo as a draft pick from Kentucky. And Minnesota wanted him because they wanted a point guard. And the only reason the Celtics didn't trade him wasn't because he was good or bad. It was because we got no point guard on the roster. We got to keep somebody. And that's why they did it. So, you know what? You can always fill in the bench players. It's the stars you need. And we got that way because we lost that on Tim Duncan. That's what happened. We should have had him. We had the most lottery balls in that thing. In San Antonio, they fixed it. Not fixed it, but they set it. Because David Robinson got hurt that year. He was ready to come back. He broke his leg. He was ready to come back halfway through the year. Said, don't bother. Maybe we'll luck out and get the first pick. And guess what? That's what happened.
Paid off.
It paid off with that little bingo ball in the machine going up through the thing. And we had the most bingo balls in there that year because we had the worst record. And we got shafted. We had a 25% chance, which is really high, to get the first pick. We didn't get it. And Patino took that job thinking, yeah, this is going to be great. Yeah, it wasn't. And he was out in 3 years.
Oh, he was gone quick.
He was gone. Yeah. And you know what? That other clown in San Antonio that everybody thinks is so great, he was the one.
Oh, Popovich?
That's the one. He was the one that, I'm going to be the GM. Oh, wait a minute. We're getting Tim Duncan. I'm going to be the GM and the coach. You're fired, Bob Hill. And he rode him right down to the end. And how many times have they won since Duncan's been gone?
Spurs are, whatever team now. I mean,
yeah, zero.
Special.
It's zero. They haven't. And he can sit there and tell me they can all tell me what a great coach he is. And I'm sure he's pretty good and he does the strategy. But you know what? You know why he was a great coach? Because Tim Duncan was a great player. And they can say, well, we had David Robinson. Yeah, they had David Robinson before Tim Duncan. And as good as he was, they didn't win it. It took Tim Duncan to win it. And they didn't have Parker and Ginobili. They were still in high school. They had Avery Johnson and who was the other one? The shooting guard that they traded to the Knicks. I can't remember his name.
Who was that?
He was a nothing. He was a nothing. And you know what? But Tim Duncan can win with us, Rob, if we were still in our prime, if we were young. It was Tim Duncan. And you know what? This stuff about how great he is, he's not Red Auerbach, please. He's not. He's not. And you know what? And he's not a nice guy either. He's so pompous and arrogant. Even reporters hate him. They hate him. They do hate him. And Same thing with Phil Action Jackson. You know why he was great? He was a great coach.
I wonder why. Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, there you go.
Scottie Pippen.
There you go.
Etc. and so forth.
Now,
yeah, I feel like, Bob, we could have coached a team to a title if we had those players.
Yeah. And you know
At
what?
least one.
You know
Jordan,
what, too?
go take care of this.
Mitchell was right. Mitchell Butler was right when he was on our show. He did say he coached the 3 to the 7 or the 3 to the 12 guy. No, what did he say? The 5 to the 12, 6 to the 12, the back of the bench. He did, because when they had the coach before Phil got there the second time, they had he couldn't win with that team, and then Phil went in there and won. But still, they had the team. They just didn't like the coach before him. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't that good. But once he got there, and he had all. Why do you think he never wanted to coach the Nets? The Nets always tried to get him. Phil Jackson. He was like, no, because back then they were terrible. No, he didn't want to. I can't believe he got too big for his britches at the end. He thought he could get. He hates the Celtics because they were rivals. He was on the last team that beat the Celtics in '72. Last time the Knicks won it, he was on that team. He had one foul shot in the game in overtime, helped beat us in the double overtime game or triple overtime, whatever it was. But you know what? He wasn't a great player, but he hated the Celtics, and he loved the fact that he ended up getting more titles than Auerbach. But was he better than Auerbach? No. Did Auerbach retire at 38 years old? Yes. As a coach, yes. He kept going. Phil would have never caught him. Never. And he goes, now I'm just going to destroy the Celtics by being a GM and getting that title. Well, guess what, Junior? You didn't.
It didn't work out too well.
No, and you got ran out, too. The fans and the press ran you out. They did. That's what you get because you think you're better than you are. And now that we're throwing people under the bus, and this probably be our last show because of it. How about Pat Riley? Huh?
Okay, there's a button called delete, Bob. We can always just
make
it disappear forever.
That's true. Pat Riley, right? This guy was a geek with big glasses, being the color man, the sports announcer. And Chick Hearn actually told him to go down there and coach him and Jerry West because I think was it Westhead got fired, but the story because Magic did not like Westhead. They were there 1 year and they won it, but he got him fired. He admits it. He got him fired. And then Pat Riley went in, but Pat was he was just a sports announcer. He wasn't the next coach. It was Jack McCanney. And Jack was a Bucks coach with my brother in Milwaukee. And he was in Portland when Bill Walton won it. He was the assistant to Dr. Jack Ramsey. I met him. He was a great person. And he was so smart. And he got that job. And we were all happy for him. And the night when Kareem hits that hook was his first coaching game ever. Magic's first game as a player. I think it was Magic's first game as a player. And he jumped on top of Kareem. He was hugging him. And Jack was in there jumping around, But he would have been the Pat Riley that we were all talking about, not Pat Riley. He ended up a week later going on his bicycle, hit a pothole. He didn't have the helmet on. He went into a coma. And then, Westhead took over. And then Riley took over for him. But it really was Jack McCanney. And then eventually he actually came out of that coma, ended up becoming a coach of the Indiana Pacers years later and won Coach of the Year. That's how great he was. And he really was totally out of it, but he still was Coach of the Year. And he would have been the guy that everybody talked about. And he deserves that credit. He just passed on, I think, about a year or so ago. But Jack McCanney was great. There's no doubt about it. And it would have been him. That was the legend coach. Pat Riley wouldn't have been in Miami with Shaq and getting no. Pat still wanted to be a geeky color man, and that's what he was. So he was a good player, though. He's a solid player. He played for Phoenix, played for the Lakers when he played. He played on that Kentucky team in '66 that lost to the first all-black team, Texas Western. Yeah. Don Haskins, was the coach. But yeah, people don't know about that stuff because ESPN don't tell you.
No, they don't, and they don't.
No.
They tend to not point out the background, circumstantial situations, and the people involved that create some of these stars.
Right. Right. No.
So, Bob, I think we should probably cut it short. People were expecting Ricky Manning. We've gotten a good dose in here. I say, any closing thoughts?
We were expecting him too. Just he's busy with minicamp. He texted me during the show. Hopefully, he'll come back on. You know, he said he's swamped, so hopefully that doesn't mean he won't come back on. I hope that's not the case. But we will have him back on. And I did call Kansas City for trying to get on Andy Reid. We're waiting to hear back. And the trainer, Rick Burkholder, who's my friend of my brother's as well, and work with him. So we're trying to get those two guys on. We're also going to get John Shar on. And hopefully Mark Harmon, who is a big-time Hollywood actor, has been for years, and was a player at UCLA. He was our quarterback. So we want to get him on, too. So we got a lot of stars coming. So don't stop watching.
Don't stop. Like and subscribe when you can, folks. And stay tuned for the next show with the stars here on The Sports Show with